Hi, welcome to this week's video. So this week you're going to see me doing some watercolor landscape painting, and there's one thing I wanted to talk about as well. So it's this idea of sort of loosening up, creating loose, somewhat abstract, in this case landscapes, but whatever subject matter you're into. And how do you go about doing that? Should you, let's say you're at the beginning of your art career, whatever age you are, you're getting into art or back into art, so you're a beginner. Should you learn to draw and paint in a very tight and a very academic style, and then after some time learn to loosen up? Or should you just paint in a loose, somewhat abstract style from day one and forget about all of the academic stuff and the learning to draw? The thing about this approach to making landscapes that I'm showing you, you do not need to be able to draw. And I mean that completely. You don't need any drawing skills whatsoever. You do need some ability, some experience with watercolor, whatever medium that you're using. And there is a bit of a learning curve there, but you do not need any drawing skills. There's no drawing here. You notice it was just a white sheet of paper that I started with. There was no pencil sketch. I also simplify things down, so there are no buildings, there are no people, animals. It's a very minimalist, simplified, abstract landscape painting. So getting back to this idea, should you learn all of the rules and then break the rules? And it's that sort of, I think it was Picasso quote, learn the rules like a pro and then break them like an artist, something like that. It's not something that I agree with. Now, everybody has their own ideas of how to approach art, and people get very passionate about these things. So, usual disclaimer, this is just my ideas. I'm not saying this is the right or the wrong or the best ones. It's just my ideas. If you want to learn to paint in a loose way, why not start by painting in a loose way from day one? What advantage is there in learning to paint and draw in a very tight, controlled way, and then somehow hope that after a year or 2 years or 10 years, you're going to be able to flip over to a loose, abstract way of drawing and painting? Does it work that way? I don't know. But my suspicion is probably not. If you are in a country somewhere and you want to travel to a city that is north of you, would you start off by traveling south? Or would you just travel north? Which one seems more logical? To me, if you want to paint in a loose style, start painting in a loose style, not next year or 10 years, today. Forget all of the drawing skills, forget the tight, controlled academic approach to art, and just loosen up, be sloppy, be careless, have fun. That's the loose, abstract style. And I don't think you get there by learning to draw and paint in a very controlled way. Different people will have different ideas. I say everybody gets very passionate about art and the best way to do it. I don't know there is a best way, but it just seems logical to me that if you want to paint and draw in a loose way, that's how you should do it. It doesn't seem logical to tighten up and approach everything in an academic way. In terms of materials, it's the usual materials that I'm using here. You can see a couple of examples of recent paintings. I use mainly Sennelier paint with a little bit of Winsor & Newton as well. The painting on the left, the dark horizon line, I'm using neutral tint for that by Winsor & Newton, and most of the other colors, the yellows, the blues, are by Sennelier. I don't think the brand of paint matters too much. A lot of people focus on the, what material should I use? How do I do this? And it's understandable to ask those questions, but in terms of the brand of paint, there are a lot of excellent brands, and some people swear by a certain brand and some people don't like it, and this is why I don't try to recommend particular brands, just the approach that you use. To create these loose abstract styles, paint in a loose abstract way. I don't know if that makes sense, but anyway, that's the message that I kind of wanted to say in this week's video. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, listening, and hopefully see you again in next week's video.